Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Dai, and today I'm sharing with you my thoughts on the Monochrome Manga Club selections for the month of June. So the Monochrome Manga Club is an in-real-life manga club that I host, and we're reading 2 first-in-a-series selections, and we're currently doing 2 full-series reads. So the selections for the month of June were Volume 1 of That Blue Sky Feeling, story by Okura and art by Komahashi. This one is published by Viz, rated teen. We also read Volume 1 of Not So Shoujo Love Story, story and art by Kuriyuku. This one is published by Viz, but is also on Webtoons, and is rated teen. And then our series reads are currently Haikyuu, where we read volumes 22, 23, and 24. These are by Haruichi Furudate, published by Viz, rated teen. And then we're also reading through Tokyo Revengers by Ken Wakui. We read volumes 17 and 18, and these are published by 7 Seas, rated older teen. So as we are not at the beginnings of either Tokyo Revengers or Haikyuu, I will not be sharing my thoughts with you on those volumes, but if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on them, you can check out my Desus 19 diaries for the week. So, in regards to our first in a series selections, let's start off with That Blue Sky Feeling. So this story follows this boy here whose name is Noshiro, and he moves to a new school and notices that there's a guy who likes to keep to himself. He is pretty good at making friends, so he makes a couple of friends really fast, and when he inquires about this guy who likes to keep to himself, he's told that that guy's name is Sanada and that he likes to keep to himself because he's gay. Well, Noshiro wants to make friends with this guy, and so he makes every effort to try to get to know Sanada. They start getting to know each other, having lunch together. And then as they spend more time together, Noshiro kind of wonders why it bothers him so much when Sanada smiles with other people but never seems to smile with him. This is a really cute story. I enjoyed this a lot. There were a couple of things that were just kind of questionable, but on a whole, I thought this volume was super cute. Noshiro just seems like a really wholesome person, and Sanada, you can totally understand why he keeps to himself, but there are a couple characters around him that he does open up to, spend time with, and you can see those interactions as we go through the volume. And I really enjoyed watching Noshiro try to get to know Sanada and them kind of forming this friendship. I do think that this story is gonna end up kind of getting into the romantic aspects of it. I don't know how far we're gonna get into that though, because this is only a 3-volume series, but I'm really interested to read the rest of the series. I thought this volume was super cute, and I'm really excited to spend more time with these 2 guys and seeing where their relationship goes in the next 2 volumes. So really enjoyed this one. We'll definitely be continuing with the rest of the series as I do have it. This was one that was a recommendation by Bizarre Individual. He's recommended it several years now when he's doing his Pride Manga Readathon recommendations videos or his TBR videos or announcement videos for the readathon that he hosts during Pride Month. And I bought this series a couple years ago after hearing him talk about it, and I just never got around to it. I'm so glad that I finally read it. I'm really interested in the story, and I'm definitely looking forward to following these 2 and their relationship in the next couple volumes. So really enjoyed that one. And then for the second first in a series selection, Not So Shoujo Love Story. This one follows a story between our character here whose name is Rei, and she has this immense crush on this guy here who is Chin Chin. I'll talk to you about why I'm laughing a little bit about that name in a little bit, but she has this huge crush on this guy, and when Hana shows up and confesses her love for Rei, Rei takes it a little bit misunderstandingly. She thinks that Hana wants to get in the middle of her and Chin Chin, And so a battle kind of ensues between the two, where Hana is not able to really get her feelings across to Rei, and Rei kind of being irritated by the fact that Hana is always around. And so it kind of follows them, one trying to get to like know each other on a kind of level, but at the same time you follow the interactions between these three characters. There's scenes from when they first met each other, when Rei fell in love with Chin Chin, and things like that. It also encompasses their daily life during high school. This is a full color volume, and it is a rather hefty volume as well in regards to weight. But as far as the content, it is rather fluffy. There's a lot of over-the-top scenes, and for me, I'm kind of not in that era anymore where I enjoy super over-the-top expressions of love or just expressions in general. And this volume had a lot of them. Plus, there's quite a bit of insta-love, which is not something that I enjoy either. The reason I had laughed about the male character's name is because when I first had heard about this series, I had just seen a picture on Twitter. I believe it was from Viz's Twitter, and it was just a picture of this guy shielding Rei from the rain with his chin. There is not... Here we go. It's in the back here. You can see his chin is basically this really long Dorito. He's not pictured like this with a normal chin. I don't think at all during the volume. He's mostly pictured like this with his Dorito chin that kind of grows and changes kind of its shape a little bit throughout the volume, and it's kind of hilarious. But that's how I kind of found out about the series. And then when my daughter had told me what the premise was, because she thought that it sounded interesting, I thought it sounded funny, and so that's why we decided to pick it for our selection for the month of June. Now, this, in essence, is a girl's love story. There's going to be a romance between Hana and Rei, but in this volume, there's just a lot of misunderstanding. There's a lot of kind of school bullying, because there's this faction of girls that, you know, love Chin Chin. So you see how they kind of want to get Rei out of the picture a few times in this volume. But there's also the hilarious portions, and that's kind of where his chin comes in. When I had first started reading, I didn't know what his name was. And so I was reading it, and you find out within the first page or so into this volume, and I cracked up because his name is Handsome, Hansum, Chin Chin. And it just was hilarious to me. And then daughter came in and asked me why I was chuckling, and so I told her what the guy's name was. And she's like, "You know what that means, right?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know what that means." And so she explained it to me. I'm going to let you go ahead and research on your own what Chin Chin refers to. But it just made it a little bit more kind of hilarious. But at the same time, I can't really keep that character as a serious character, because I know he's not going to be part of the main couple as we get further into this series. I mean, this is a girl's love story. But at the same time, it seems like he's going to be around a lot. And so I'm just like... I mean, there are definitely a lot of interactions in here where he has meaningful conversations with Rei, but at the same time, there's more interactions where I'm kind of like, why are you in love with this guy? I don't understand. Because he just seems to not remember interactions with her and disregards the fact that she even exists most of the time. So it's just I think I'm just too old. I think that's what it is. Now, after reading some of the reviews after I finished this volume on Goodreads, it seems like the storytelling and things like that get much better as we get through to the series. It is on Webtoons, so you can read it there. When looking this up on Webtoons, though, it seems like this story has been on hiatus since 2024. So while I am not interested in investing in further physical volumes for this series, I think I will continue reading it on the Webtoons app, but not until it comes back from hiatus. Because if you know me, I'm not somebody that usually likes to be reading series that are not finished. There are a couple that I am in that kind of relationship with, but more often than not, I will not continue reading a series if it's not near completion or if it's on hiatus or something like that, because I am not somebody that enjoys cliffhangers, and I don't enjoy waiting for stories if I'm really like into it. And I'm not at that point with this, so I think now is a good time to just wait for the story to come back before I continue. And I will continue on Webtoons once that happens, but I'm not at the point where I'm interested in investing money into physical volumes of this series at this time. I do appreciate the publication. It is a nice publication. Like I said, full color, there's good weight to the volume, and it's just really pretty. But for the story, it hasn't grabbed me yet. And while I'm still interested in seeing what's going to happen, especially knowing that the storytelling gets so much better, I definitely want to wait for the story to come back from hiatus before I get further into this series. So that is my thoughts on our two first in the series selections. So, before I let you go, I do want to let you know what we will be reading for the month of July. We're obviously going to be continuing with our series reads, so we'll be continuing with volumes 19 and 20 of Tokyo Revengers by Ken Wakui. We will also be continuing with Haikyuu by Haruichi Furudate, volumes 25, 26, and 27. And then as for our first in a series selections, I had one of our members bring selections again to suggest to the group. And after voting, we decided on volume 1 of Record of Ragnarok. Now, I don't have a volume with me because there wasn't a volume for me to purchase at the store, but this is the second time that this title has been suggested. And so we voted to go ahead and read it for the month of July. This is by Takumi Fukui and art by Ajichika. This one's published by Viz and is rated older teen, I believe. So on Goodreads, the summary states, the Valkyrie Brunhilde has convinced the gods to give humanity a chance at redemption through combat in the Valhalla arena. Seeking a quick end to the proceedings, the gods present their first fighter, Thor, the Norse god of thunder. Facing him as a warrior said to be the strongest in the history of mankind, the legendary General Lubo. I believe I pronounced that correctly, and I believe he is a Chinese general. But as you can tell, this story is full of mythology. And so I'm really interested in checking this one out because I do enjoy stories about mythology. And so I'm definitely interested in reading this one and hearing what my members think of it. The person that presented it, or the people that presented this title both times, really think that it's an interesting series and enjoy the story a lot. And so I'm looking forward to discussing this volume with the members in the month of July. And then our second first in a series selection is a newer release, and it's going to be volume 1 of On and Off Work-Life Imbalance. This one is by Shinosuke Kanazawa, published by Square Enix Manga, and this one is rated teen. So the back says there are 2 sides to every working adult. One they show when they're on the job, and one they show when they're off the clock. For co-workers Sotaro Amata and Akira Hankyu, this holds doubly true. Outside the office, these fashionistas don outfits that metamorphose them into completely different people. So what happens when they form a connection after hours without recognizing who the other person is? So we have our characters here on the cover. This is the female co-worker and this is the male co-worker. And then on the back here, you can see that these are them in their normal workday lives. And so my daughter thought it sounded really interesting. She was immediately captured by the aesthetics of the female character here. And so definitely put it on my radar, and we decided that we would just go ahead and read it for the month of July. So I'm really looking forward to this one. It is quite a thin volume, but I think this is going to be a really interesting story. So that is going to be our second first in a series selection. So let me know down in the comments below if you will be joining us in reading any of July's selections. You can always join us in reading our selections by either discussing your thoughts with me on the selections in videos like these, or you can join our Discord, which is linked down in the description box below. Also, let me know if you have picked any of these up or if you read through any of this series. Like I said, you can hear my thoughts on Haikyuu and Tokyo Revengers in my Jesus 19 Diaries video for the week. And if nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you were here, if you could leave me a sakura emoji for all of the pink flowers that are on the cover of Not So Shoujo Love Story, it would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out. And that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.